everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson Soapery. Today we're going to be getting into a video on our Sunday chat. So of course it is a Sunday chat, and every Sunday, for anyone that doesn't know, I come on here and we have a subject that I talk about, and lots of people come on here and have a chat. So if there's any questions, you can ask that. Do remember to keep your questions nice and neat, and just talk with me, not across each other. Otherwise I get a bit confused and I can't see the comments. But anyway, as I said, today we're going to be having this chat, and it's going to be about, let me look at my list because I have to remember, but it's going to be more about recipes in particular. So we'll definitely do talk about recipes, formulating, and of course we will also be talking about behind the scenes, because behind the scenes is super duper important, and that's what actually a lot of people want to know, is behind the scenes, how I actually do things and how they actually work. So and why they work. So a lot of things, such as recipes and Patreon, not Patreon, recipes and behind the scenes and a few extra posts and so on go to Patreon. So they're the people that actually get to see those, but I always put things on here as well. Hi Trish, how you going? I was just doing my opening so that everyone knows exactly what I'm going to be talking about, but I will sort of say it again, because obviously when I say it, it doesn't really come on YouTube yet. I just do a pre-thing of it. So we're going to be talking about recipes, formulating, how I formulate, why I formulate, and so on, and also behind the scenes, and a little bit about, why Patreon get behind the scenes and so on. So we'll talk about that as well. Hi, Kelsey, lovely. How are you? Welcome, darling. Welcome to our Sunday chat. It is 11 a.m. or close enough in Melbourne. Oh, oh, hi, Trish. Oh, good morning, Paula. How are you, lovely? Welcome. So, as I said, today is one of those chats, and I'm sorry that there's a million bath bombs sitting below that you probably can see, but it's crazy. I've been making bath bombs like nobody's business. Oh, from the US, 7 p.m. there, lovely. Well, hello, welcome. Welcome, Ashley, to you too. Florida, oh, wow, I've always wanted to go to Florida. Oh, Detroit, 7 o'clock in the evening. Is it, Kelsey? Okay. Well, you guys are good, aren't you, to come on and log on. So we will start to get into it, but of course I welcome people. Hello, Jillian from Trinidad. I know that is where you're from. And Chicago, Yolanda, welcome. I'm probably saying Yolanda wrong. Maybe you say it a bit different in the US, but, I have this crazy Aussie accent, so you're just going to have to put up with, I guess, the way we say things, because we don't pronounce all the letters. In words, a lot of it's kind of quite slang, and we just go over it. So I hope when I'm talking that people from other countries can understand what I'm saying. If I put little bits in, all of the Aussies on here will kind of get what I'm saying, that we do. Oh, I'm right. Okay, good, Yolanda. Hello, Sue. How are you? Welcome, darling. And I am really good on this Sunday morning. I actually have had my good sleep. Everyone's going to laugh at this, but since my darling dad has passed, every day I dream about him. I dream something. It's always nice, but last night I just had this funniest dream that, my dad was coming and getting all these donuts and eating them, and they're bath bomb ones. So I thought, isn't that funny? But yeah, so anyway, so I did have a nice sleep, and I had more than 6 hours sleep. Usually I only get 5 or 6, because I'm always making things. Like, honestly, I work 16 to 18 hours is pretty normal for me, because, my studio is within my property, so it's not as hard. I can literally just come out here, make things, and go back inside and so on. So anyway, I will try and read all of your comments as they come along, but, forgive me if I don't see them, because I actually don't have my glasses on. I couldn't find them in time, so I went, oh, well, too bad. So anyway, today I thought the main thing is recipes. I've been getting so many questions at the moment about, how to formulate a recipe. Why would they formulate one? Can they just use mine? Oh, about saying names. Yeah, no. Well, my name is Rhonda, but, a lot of people pronounce the H differently. So But in Australia, it's a silent H. We don't. But my, Oklahoma, welcome, lovely, welcome. So now what was I talking about? Recipes. Yeah, so I do get lots and lots of people asking about recipes. Now, I will tell all of you on here, the recipes I give, you are welcome to use them. You're welcome to use them to sell a product, to use for yourself, whatever you like. I don't mind. They're not patented or anything like that. I don't put copyrights on any of my recipes because the whole reason for me to start this YouTube was to help people, because I know when I started, it was fairly impossible for me to get recipes. I mean, it was really, really hard. And if you did, you had to join different groups to get them and so on. So even though I do have a Patreon, the recipes that I give you on here are free still. Patreon really is a little bit different, where they get more like business tips. They do get early access to videos without ads. And I'll go through what they get so that everybody knows that my YouTube is still the same. So don't worry about that. We haven't changed anything on YouTube. All the recipes are free. And like I said, you can use them whether you're making a product to sell or whatever. The only thing that I do ask is that you don't sell my recipe to anyone else, because I want them to be free to anyone, no matter what somebody can afford or can't afford. And, lots of them you can swap oils as well. If I've got an oil that's an expensive oil and you think, oh, I don't really want to spend that, then you can, but it may just alter the recipe a tiny bit. And today I'll go into some oils and, why I actually use them, and ones that I wouldn't use as well. So let's start at the beginning. Like I said, we're going to be talking about testing and formulating. A part of formulating a recipe, and I know you're all going to say, ugh, but testing is a huge, huge part. Yeah, it does. Yeah, somebody's just saying, even if you don't get the recipe, just the guidance is helpful. Hi, customer service. Welcome, my lovely. Welcome today. Yeah, and I do think that because when I started, I watched, Royalty Soap, Sunshine Soap, which I really like her. I think her name's Corey, and I really do like her. Mo River. I mean, there's so many. Eden Secrets, Adrienne from, I think, the French Islands. I really like her as well. I mean, there's just so many that I really like. Mrs. Soap and Clay, I love her as well. Oh, hi, Jess. Yeah, you got to remember to tell me your name, Jess, because I'll forget. I'm hopeless. And that's why I just can see the title. But usually I know, and then I go, oh, gee, hold on. Because now I get so many messages that I sometimes forget. But there's lots of people that are regular people that I do remember names as well. Yeah, so basically what we're going to talk about, like I said, is a bit about the recipe. So, when I formulate it, it's usually because I want the recipe to do something different. So that's the thing that you really need to remember, that you're not just going to go, okay, I just want to make a soap, so I'll just pop it all in soap calc. That doesn't work, because what actually happens, and I know, because when I first started, I actually thought you just get the ingredients, you put it in soap calc, as long as it equals 100%, then it's good to go. But soap calc will tell you it's good to go, but it's actually not, because what happens is sometimes, oh, no, that's okay, Jess, don't be silly, darling, it's fine. I'll have to put a note down for you so I remember your name. But I do remember you, just I couldn't remember it was Jess. But what was I talking about now? So that's right, recipes. So yeah, when you put it into soap calc, it will tell you that it's good to go. It will give you your lye and everything else. Hello, Donna. Welcome, darling. Oh, don't worry that you're late. We're only just starting. So when you put in everything, the one thing that I did at the start is I put in massive amount of, what did I put in? Castor oil. And I thought, oh, this is good. And it was bubbly and whatever. But, I'm going to tell you, I put in heaps of coconut. I think I put like 30% coconut, 20% castor. And the recipe will tell you it's good to go, but it's not. It made it smell. It made it gooey when you touched it. Yes, it gave you the bubbles. It was cleansing, too cleansing. So that's what I mean. There's lots of things like that when you start, you kind of, if you want to do it yourself, I'll give you a few tips actually today on if you want to do it. Try not to make your recipe more than 21 or 22% coconut. because if you do, it's really cleansing. And you can have higher coconut if you have different things. So if you have more shea butter, it's okay because the fat of the shea kind of counteracts the coconut, because most people put a lot of coconut to make it harder. Oh, from Canada, sending your love. Thank you, Brenna, darling. Welcome. So that's why I do that. But if I'm honest, generally sweet almond I love because that is a real kind of creamy oil. Shea and cocoa I always put in as well. Yeah, that's right. You do have to find the usage rates. But when I actually, when I actually go on Soap Calc and I create a recipe, I don't put amounts. I actually put percentage. So you can have your choice of percentage or so on. So I just put percentage because percentage is kind of easier to go, okay, well, I sort of roughly want 50% olive oil, for instance. And it's easier to break that down. And then what you can do, so, say print it, for instance. And when it gets to the next screen, you might go, oh, hold on, that's not very hard. So then you can go back and change it a little bit as well. Do I use the same recipe all the time? Christine, sometimes I do, but honestly, I change it depending. So if I do say goat's milk, then obviously that would change a bit because I need to add goat's milk. And when I actually do things like goat's milk, I actually buy the powdered goat's milk from the chemist because I know that is the highest grade and it is really expensive. It really is. For a tub like this size, it's like $38. But you don't need much in it because you're going to mix it with water and so on. So that one would change. But generally my recipe is very similar. Sometimes it would just kind of go up and down. And most soapers, especially in the UK, because in the UK they need to have assessments, they will keep the base recipe very similar and they're only going to change, the fragrance or the colorants. Lots of people have a base recipe. So generally I would keep it very, very similar. It's only if I'm making like a specialized one or I made for my son, because my son's a tradie, my 21-year-old son, I actually made him one with, it was like a soap that had pumice in it to get all the grit out of his hands because he's a roof tiler and they get kind of all the glues and stuff. So that's what I actually made for him. And then that one was quite different because I needed to make it for him, but I don't sell that one. It was just for my son. And it's the same as, if you're making, oh, hi, Justin, welcome, love. And if I'm also doing, like my body whips and things like that, yeah, less is better. Sometimes less is better. But when I'm making my whips as well, sometimes I change them depending. So at the moment I've got like an orange patchouli scrub that I've just bought out, and I think the orange patchouli is a salt scrub. But then I do have a sugar scrub, and then I also have a poppy seed scrub. So they change a little bit as well. Do I make hot process? No, I've never wanted to do it. And I'll tell you why. The thing is, honestly, now this sounds mean, but whenever I see a hot process, I think it looks like vomit in the pot, and I'm just like, whoa, I can't do it. So and plus, my soaps are always like pretty. They're like colourful and that. And hot process, generally, you can't do a lot of colours. It doesn't really take. So that's the main reason why. Yeah, funny, Dawn. I know. I can't. It's never interested me. But if you ever want to get recipes or watch hot process, go onto a YouTuber called Ellen Ruth. She is amazing and she does some really good hot process. So she's the one I would suggest for that. And she shows you the recipe, gives you the recipe, talks you through it. So she's really good. So definitely follow her. I don't know her personally, but she's one that I watched a lot, and her hot process was really good. But as I said, I really didn't want to give it a go. And you can see, like in my bath bombs, like they're all kind of colourful, So I guess I'm more known for the white background with the colour. Yeah, it does look very rustic as well. Oh, you love Ellen. Yeah, she's great. I mean, I really, really like her. And she comes across as really friendly and genuine. And I love that. I mean, it's just so nice. She sometimes I watch, do you know what I actually watch? Sometimes I watch different soapers. And there's a few that they'll kind of make comments like, oh, well, I don't give the recipe, you've got to do this. And it comes across a little rude. Like, I know they don't mean to be rude, but, or, you know, I've heard other just people doing videos, and they'll repeat what, you know, a customer's given them a bad review. And I'm like, that is so mean. Like, I would never do that. So, you know, anyway, I just, look, as you all know, I always say, be kind, be nice, because in life, that's all we have. I mean, look, let's be honest here. So, but anyway, I love her because she's really, really genuine and down to earth as well. And yeah. Oh, so it's not bubbling like you want. I am actually going to be bringing out, look, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do. So, yeah, it isn't ethical, you're right. But in regards to, you know, like soap whips, I actually buy mine already done. But I am actually going to be doing, sorry, I'm just going to get rid of some messages. But I am actually going to be doing a recipe that shows you how to make it as well. And, you know, I've kind of like played around with different formulations on it, what I love and what I don't. But I will bring that out soon. But that will probably go to, you know, the Patreons, just to thank them. And then maybe a month or something later, I'll bring it out to YouTube, because I want to play with that recipe a bit. And I do give lots and lots of things. You know, I give them all on Patreon. But, you know, you guys will all get the videos on here too. So don't worry about that. You'll definitely get them. But we'll kind of go through that. And there's different products that you put in to make more bubbles as well. So, you know, like there's even, look, I can't pronounce it, cocoa betaine or something, but that gives lots of bubbles. You can add a tiny bit of that in your bath bombs as well. And it's very gentle. So you're fine with that one as well. Yeah. So anyway, so as I said, you know, one thing that we'll talk about a little bit here. So we've talked about the recipes. Now, like, so if you want to make a recipe, just remember things on your recipes. You know, such as, you know, if you're doing a vegan soap, obviously you're not going to be adding goat's milk because it's a byproduct of an animal. So you need to be careful of things like that. And as I said, don't put high castor oil as well, because that is a little bit, that's a little bit crazy too if you're doing, you know, putting castor oil and things like that in, because it can make your recipe just really thick and gooey and sticky, and it makes it smell in time. I learned that the hard way for sure. And the same as shea butter is beautiful, but too much of it can make your soap look grainy. So there's a lot of things that, you know, why you wouldn't put something and why you would put it. So if you want your butter to be harder, you can put, you know, coconut oil. You can definitely pop that in. And you can also do cocoa butter, but cocoa is very expensive. Mine does have a good amount of cocoa and shea, but that's just because I want that creamy, kind of rich, luxurious type bar. But, you know, it's really individual. And then, of course, I use olive oil. Grapeseed oil doesn't last as long, and it can make your soap rancid, which I didn't know at the start. And that means it can get little orange spots on it and just make it a little ugly. It's fine to use, but it's not that pretty, so it's going to be hard to sell. So, you know, there's things like that, because once the oils get a little older, then that can happen. So your bar of soap will last a long time, but there's certain oils that don't last as long. So you've got to think of that as well. Oh, do I use palm in my soap? When I first started, I used palm oil, certified palm oil in my soap, and I love the feel of it. It's creamy, it's rich and beautiful. But for me, when I went to wholesale and all of that, I decided to drop it and do palm free. To be really honest, if I'm going to be honest, I actually think with palm oil, it is a longer lasting bar of soap. It feels nice and so on. But it's just a thing that a lot of people don't find it ethical. And there's a lot of questions around, is it farmed right and so on. So that is why. So, but you'll see recipes, my very earlier on recipes with the certified palm in it. And certified palm thickens up really fast, so it can seize up faster. But if you're doing like a palm oil, it doesn't seize up as fast, because the palm oil is like really thick and kind of gooey. And that's why the orangutans love it, because, you know, it's got a lot of nutrients and everything in it. So, but anyway, that's why, you know, I dropped it. I dropped it not because I don't like it, but it was just really a thing that I thought, look, I need my business to be really ethical, and I didn't want those questions that come attached to certified palm. So it really is a tricky area. It really, really is. Yeah, citric acid, you can, you can put, stearic acid. You can put stearic acid as well inside your soap. So you can put that in the light. I don't put that in because I don't want to have all these extra chemically looking names. Like I want mine to be names that people can read and they know what they are. So that's my main reason, honestly, for the recipe that I've got. So if you think of things like olive oil, sweet almond oil, cocoa, shea, obviously distilled water and so on, people know what they are. Obviously, it does have sodium hydroxide and water, and most people know that is lye, and that's what makes soap. You can't make it without it. So for me, if someone picks up my bar of soap, they can read it. There's no chemical words in it. But if somebody picks up something that says stearic acid, they're like, oh, hold on. And they do question that. So sometimes it's not even about the ingredients, but it's more about, okay, is this going to look valuable to sell? So that's the thing. If you want to get a good amount of money for your soap and be successful, you need to have ingredients that are luxury ingredients and are costly ingredients. So my cocoa is very expensive. I've heard citric acid. I've never heard of citric acid being put in soap. To be honest, I haven't. But maybe. I mean, it's just not something I've done, but I've not heard of the citric acid going in there. Oh, hi, lovely. How are you? Welcome. Welcome. I hope that you are enjoying our Sunday chat. And sometimes I sit there during the week and I think, what am I going to talk about? Surely they're sick of me talking about soap or candles. But then lots of people send me messages and say, no, I love it. It gives me a purpose on a Sunday. So here I am each Sunday. So hopefully the things that we talk about are helpful as well. Oh, okay, Kelsey, it helps people with the hard water. Okay, we don't really have that in Melbourne or in Australia, really, we don't. It's pretty good here. So our water is very drinkable. Stearic acid, yeah, well, that's what I was talking about, stearic acid before. Oh, you look forward to the Sunday chats. Oh, yeah, and look, I've heard of many soapers using stearic acid, and it's the same as salt. You can put a teaspoon of salt in your lye as well, and that also helps. So, because that hardens up the bar as well. So, yeah. Oh, lots of well water in the US. Okay, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, no, we don't have a lot of that here. So, we're very lucky in Australia. I don't think we realise how lucky we are with our water. I think it is known as one of the best in the world, actually, if I'm right. Oh, thank you, Jillian. You're a love. So now we've talked about that and why you're going to be doing that as well. And also, cocoa, like I said, makes it harder, but it's a really creamy, nurturing, just a beautiful, beautiful butter. But it's expensive. And for me, I charge $8 to $10 a bar of soap. And it's because I'm using high luxury ingredients and butters and oils that cost a lot. So a lot of my bars of soap actually do cost me about $5 a bar just to make it. So obviously you can't be selling that for $5 when it costs you $5. So you've got to be realistic here. But generally, I think a general bar of soap's about $4 to make, if we be honest about using good ingredients. That's really what a bar of soap costs. So you need to charge $9 to get your money back. No, I've never used silk in mine, Bronwyn. I haven't. A lot of people have actually asked me about that, but it's not something I've ever used. And, I just think, look, keeping it simple for me, I thought was good as well. Yeah, cocoa does thicken up your batter as well, but I only keep mine to 6 to 8%, around that. So it's okay. But because I'm using a palm-free is not as thick as most, and also my olive oil content's over 50%. So that makes it not super thick. So mine, I guarantee it's never ever thick. The only time my palm-free recipe becomes thick is when I use coffee or tobacco fragrance, because that thickens it up quite fast, and I've got to work fast. But everything else, no. I've never had floral 1Cs or anything, but when I was using palm, 100% always ceased. So, and that was without cocoa too. So when I used florals, but I've never even had a floral do that in the palm free that I use, because like I said, my olive oil content is quite high. So it just depends on what you want. And look, all bars of soap, even a pure olive oil, are going to get hard in time. It just means that you can't be selling it sooner. You need to give it, so for me, my recipe, I give it a good 6 weeks before it goes out as well. Yeah, well, the silk is not vegan. It's definitely not vegan. Yes, no, of course, because it's a silkworm. So it's an animal, like an insect or a worm. So, no, the silk is not vegan. And generally my soaps are vegan. So pretty much all of them are actually. Most of my products are vegan. It's not that I've chosen that. It's just in Australia with, the clients that I have along the bay and the coast of Australia where I mostly sell to. A lot of them are vegans, but a lot of them don't like the idea of animal fats and byproducts in their products. So, and for me, I don't use animal fats in my soap. I don't like it. I'm not vegan at all, but I just don't like it, the thought of it. So anyway, that's why I don't do that as well. Oh, corn silk works good too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't use those ones, to be really honest. Oh, hi, Kim. Welcome, my darling. One of my first followers when I first started. Kim was one of my darlings that followed me when I had a couple people on here. So welcome, Kim. Welcome to our Sunday chat. So now, like I said, we've talked about that part of it, and, the part of, and look, play around with your recipe. Even if you get mine and you go, okay, I like that, but maybe I want to add hemp, you can swap, the hemp for the almond or something like that. That's just definitely something that you can do. Or, you might want to just keep the almond, but just halve it and take 50% of that out and then put hemp in instead. I mean, that's something you can do, but you still need to put it back through soap calc. Oh, canola oil, I don't use that because it's a cheaper oil. So somebody's just asking about that. So I don't use that. I don't use sunflower oil or any of those cheaper oils. All the oils I use generally are more expensive oils, but that's just where I've marketed myself as well. What percentage do I super fat? 5%. So yeah, so always 5%. But I don't, if you use like a high cleansing sort of coconut, you'd have to super fat that more, but I don't do that. So it's okay for me for my recipe at 5%. But, when you're adding it into soap calc, it will come up as 38% of percentage of oil. So, but I changed mine to 26. So, and then that just gives less water. So, it has less water to evaporate and so on. So that's why I actually do mine at the 26%. And lots of professional soapers do that as well. And like for me, I make thousands of bars a year. Like at the start I didn't. I just made a dozen, but now I sell wholesale as well with soap. So, and while we're on that subject, everybody, I thought I will let everyone know that, because a lot of you go on my website. Next week, I think Monday to Wednesday, my website will be maybe in maintenance over those times, because my new website is about to be launched. So it's the same website, it's nelsonsopery.com, but I've hired a web developer who has totally revamped the whole thing. And they tried last night for a small amount of time, but it's going to take 3 days to upload the whole thing. So anyway, if you go on Monday, you may see that it's under maintenance. Heat transfer method, no, heat transfer method, yes, I do that. I used to do it all the time, but sometimes it caused more frosting. Yeah, Christine, it's going to be amazing on your website. I'm very excited, but as I tell everyone, look, it's taken me 3 years to be able to afford a web developer. I mean, I could not afford that before. So everyone that's watching my videos on here or Patreon, that actually does help me do things like this and, obviously get more videos out and so on. So that's something that I thought, that's why I wanted to talk about that as well, so that people know exactly what's happening as well. So now I've been asked lots of times, people have said, why can't I see the behind the scenes video? And they've gone on YouTube. I've never done really behind the scenes besides a few warehouse ones at all. Yeah, not in your budget. I get it, Christine. It definitely was not in mine at all. But I'm going to be honest with you. My dad actually left me some money. Not a lot of money. It was a very, very small amount. It was a couple $1,000s. And he really believed in the business. So I've actually put that towards my web. So that's how the web's getting paid for with my dad. So, yeah, so that's literally how I've done it, to be really honest. Because it is quite a few $1,000s. So, yeah, I'd put my dad's money towards that because I know he'd be so proud to see it, get to that next level of being really super professional. But I will be bringing out a Shopify video, a step-by-step on how to actually do it. So I'm working on that at the moment. That'll be a couple weeks away, but I will definitely be bringing that out because I get lots of questions on that as well. So now, and as I was saying, behind the scenes, lots of people have asked me, why can't they see it? Well, as I said, I've never honestly really done it behind the scenes on YouTube. The only thing I've done is warehouse things and things like that, which I do show. But behind the scenes, that's just a thing for the Patreons. So I do that from, the full week, and then on Sundays they get that as well. No worries, Carly, you can watch me whatever. Oh, thanks, Kim. Yeah, no, my dad would just be so impressed because, as I say all the time, he used to say, who can make money out of a bar of soap? And then when I started selling so much, he was like, really? He was always shocked. He just couldn't believe it. And he used to say, oh, my mother would be so impressed that you can make money out of this, But anyway, so that's why my website will be looking gorgeous from my gorgeous daddy. So, like I said, he's helped me get to that. I wish it wasn't the circumstances, but it is. It is what it is, isn't it? But anyway, like I said, so behind the scenes is a thing that Patreons people get. So if you do want to watch behind the scenes, just go over to Patreon. The link is on the main page of my YouTube. So you'll be able to see that if you'd like to go over. And I'll tell you a little about that as well, because I'm getting lots of questions about that as well. And people are saying, what do I actually get to see as well? Yeah, that's right. So behind the one thing too, behind the scenes, and this is what I was going to say, why it's important. Sometimes when you're starting a business, you kind of always think, how does it work? What actually happens behind the scenes? Like, what do they do to fill the week? So that's a really good thing as well. Oh, anytime, lovely, anytime. So I think, the thing with, behind the scenes is you can see what I do, like how I've got to organize things, how busy I am. And honestly, some days I'm in my workshop from 8 a.m. until like midnight. Sometimes longer, sometimes 2 a.m. I'm still here. And that's what you've got to do before you have workers. Like I can't afford to have a worker at the moment. I still don't take a wage for myself. I could take one, but I'm always investing. And of course I have the conference. So the conference, a lot of money goes into that because I've had to fund that personally myself. So yeah, so that's really how that's working. But as I said, so if you want to see behind the scenes and things like that, how business tips and business plans and so on, then go over to the Patreon. So I'll tell you there is now 3 tiers. So there's a $5 tier, $10 tier, $20 tier. So the $5 tier, they will see behind the scenes, links to where I buy things, early access to videos. So that's basically what you're getting for that. So the $10 people, they are going to be getting the early access to videos. And so then there's no ads and things in it. Then there is the chat. So we do like chats. We have a weekly Wednesday live, similar to this, but on a Wednesday. And it's always about the worksheets or business plans or so on. So that's what they get for that. And they get all the recipes. And I usually include at the bottom of the recipe, like links to everything. And also, just how you can actually change it a little bit. So it's a bit of a blurb on how you can change things and just a bit more help. So that's for that. And then the people that want the $20 Patreon, that's for early access, obviously to videos. They can have a one-on-one chat and questions because a lot of people at that level really need more help because they're trying to get their business off the ground. Then, of course, they get the weekly Wednesday talks that we have, recipes, additional posts that I post in there. They get a little bit extra in there. And then links to suppliers. And as I said, the one-on-one chats, which is super important because a lot of people, when you're starting, you kind of need that help. But if I'm going to be really honest, on Patreon, I think most people will go for the $10 because a lot of people don't need that one-on-one question. You'll be able to get that within the $10 plan, you know, and it works out really good. And also with the soaping conference, I will actually be putting videos in that as well for the conference. It won't be the whole conference, but it'll be videos that won't go on YouTube. And the reason for that is people are paying there, so it's kind of like they're buying a ticket. So that's why we'll have a few things like that on there. And if you want to come to our conference virtually from any country in the world or live, just go onto that website, which is it's the Australian Soaping and Candle Conference.com. So yeah, and it's held in Melbourne, Australia, in Brighton. And it will be on the 21st of March. And also, if you buy a virtual ticket for that, you'll actually get to keep the recording and then you can watch it back as many times as you want. So that's basically how that is going to work. So hopefully that makes it nice and easy as well for everyone to understand. But I thought, look, I'll just kind of go into that and talk about that. And also with our conference, a little welcome to Chrissy, Christine and Carly. They are a part of my committee now that we have a committee of the 4 of us. And so you will see lots more posts coming up in 2022 from these lovely ladies. And of course, they'll be behind the scenes helping me get this off the ground. And a whole part of that is anyone buying a ticket will get recipes to my soap, a candle recipe and instructions, and so on. How do I budget to keep a business going throughout the year? Look, that's kind of one of those, look, it's a tricky thing. It's like any business. I mean, if you have a shop, you just don't know who's going to come through the door and buy. I mean, you don't. You know, look, pretty much what I do is I keep all of the money into one account. I know that I have to pay for, you know, like, for instance, if I have to pay for things such as, you know, my website. So I have 2 websites because I have the conference website and I also have the website for this. So I'm paying, how much? I think I worked it out to be about $500 a year in websites I pay. So it's a lot of money. Yeah, so what I actually did at the start though is I was working and I put some of that money towards buying things. So basically what I do is the money just keeps sort of, the cash flow is turning around slowly. Like I don't earn massive amounts of money, but to be really honest, the YouTube, when I get paid $300 a month from YouTube, that really does help. Honestly, that helps keep, so even if I don't get orders, that helps. But, you know, honestly, I mean, as most of you have seen, I've done hundreds of videos. So it took me close to 100 videos before I even made $1 from YouTube. So, and the same with Patreon, that does help because if I didn't have all of, you know, if I didn't have any money coming through from these 2 revenues, I actually couldn't, honestly, I couldn't keep making videos because it costs money to make videos. And it costs money, like in time too, because I have to edit them and everything. So every single day I either edit or film for YouTube. So it's a lot of work. And that's the thing. If you see other people and you say, oh, gee, they've got, you know, 4,000 Patreons, they're earning thousands of dollars. Do remember the amount of work that goes into doing that. It's a full-time job. And most people that have YouTube videos, it's their full-time job. Ones that have that and Patreon, because you can't have a full-time job. I mean, you'd never sleep. Honestly, I don't know how some of them do it that do recipes like me and formulating and so on, because that takes a lot of time to be able to do it. So anyway, so that's why, so that's how I do it. But cash flow is just so important. And, you know, kind of, you just got to, you know, my thing is honestly, if you get paid, say you sell this bath bomb and this bath bomb's $8, I would only spend $2 of that and keep the rest in the bank for the next thing. But even me, I don't even keep that $2. I just put it all in there. And eventually, I'm hoping by the end of this year, I'll be able to take some sort of a small wage out of it. But I am lucky because my husband has a good job. So, so he sort of supports the house. And then everything I pay for is in here. And anything to do with like the conference, I've paid for it all. It's not out of our money for our home or anything. It's literally all of that money is, you know, out of what I'm earning here. So anytime somebody buys something online, you know, like I said, comes over to Patreon or comes over to YouTube. Those things all help. And I was never going to do Patreon, but I got talked into it by a few people because they said, look, it will really help you. Because sometimes, like even with my Kakar and Shea, I had to spend $1,000 to get the big boxes to come in because it's much more affordable that way. So, yeah, so it's really, really hard. It really is. Like, I don't have any answers to cash flow, but, and, you know, look, I'm going to be honest, there's some days I only get one order. I mean, there's some days I'll get 4 or 5 orders. So you've always got to be thinking, you know, how am I going to do this? What's going to happen? And so on. But I thought, I've got to tell you this. Now, look how cute this, oh, hold on, let me get it. How cute is this? My daughter sells earrings and she does very well. Yeah, starting up's really hard, Julian, very hard. I honestly suggest that you join a Patreon group, you know, such as mine, because you get behind the scenes and you'll see how it works. You get the business plans and things like that. Like, I'm not selling that, but honestly, it is a really good idea because you need some sort of mentor to start. Otherwise, it just is disaster. And I've spent so much money I shouldn't have spent. But, you know, I've done it as I've gone along because I just had to. But anyway, look how cute these are. They're like little soapy earrings. So I'm going to be bringing in a few things like that as well to my website. And look how cute these are. So I've actually made them. And then that's the little doggy in the bath. And then this is like a little ducky and so on. And there'll be a few. I don't know how many there's going to be. But I thought I'm going to add them because they kind of go with my whole theme of my whole soapy theme, which I absolutely love. So I hope you love them. I think they're so cute. And there'll be some other ones. I haven't done these, but like these are my, you know, the little donuts, and then there's some like these here. I mean, how cute is that? I don't know if you can see that, the conversational hearts, and there'll be little earrings when I finish making those as well. So yeah, they're so cute, Christine. I love them. And you know what? When I was actually going to a few different things and meetings, I wanted to have some earrings that were like soapy because it kind of went with the whole theme of my business. And I couldn't get anything, and I looked everywhere. And then my daughter said, Mum, why don't you just make it? And I thought, okay, I'm going to do that because it'll be so much fun. So, yeah, so anyway, so hopefully I'll have them on my website soon. And they're just a bit of cute fun, aren't they? And I am very creative, so I like to do that. But I might do a video on that later on. But anyway, I think you've heard enough of my annoying voice for our Sunday chat. So as I said, if you want to go into our Patreon, just go over there and join that. And hopefully that will help you along your little journey of making soaps, candles, bath bombs, and all the other products that we make. And, you know, you don't need to make as much as me as well. Yeah, they are, Kim. They're so gorgeous. I know. Yeah, I could put them in a bath bomb surprise. I could. I don't, for me, my insurance doesn't cover me putting things inside a bath bomb. So that's why I don't. But I might look into that in time. But yeah, now I haven't done that for now. Because you've got to be careful because citric acid can react. So you have to buy those little plastic balls that they sit inside. Or you'd have to wrap it in a plastic or something. And I've seen that as well. So anyone that adds toys, and you can just shrink wrap the toy as well. Yeah, I've heard that a few times. Just shrink wrap it and put it inside. So that I thought that was actually very clever when I heard of that as well. Or in a candle, yeah. Look, you know, every time I've seen a candle and things are inside, it always makes me worry they'll burn. So, I mean, they probably don't, but I think a bath bomb's probably the best idea, isn't it, really? And for anyone wanting to make some scrubs, I will be doing a full video soon. It will go to Patreon though, and it will actually be making a pumice foot scrub, and I'll also have what do they call them? Oh god, I can't remember. Anyway, but it's going to have a loafer sitting on top, and inside I'll actually be making the whip soap. So I'll make the full whip soap, then combine everything together. So, and then that has your water phase and oil phase as well. Thank you, Donna. So, yeah, so anyway, I'll be teaching that, and that will go over to our Patrons because there are some recipes that I've decided to do just for Patreon, just to be fair, because they are paying and they're really helping me along the way. Like, I got my first payment from Patreon and I couldn't believe how fast I was actually paid. So thank you, everyone, because I do know $10, $5, $20 a month can be a lot of money to people. So, but if you're going to join, I'd suggest you join now, because what happens on the 1st of every month, they take money out of your bank. So if you join on, the 25th, they're going to still take a payment on the 1st. So if you start early in the month, that way you get the whole month without paying, and then you get to pay on the 1st of the month. So, and for me, I don't have a contract or anything. I've seen other companies do that, but me, it's not. It's just, you just buy when you want, and you can leave Patreon when you want as well. Anyway, like I said, thank you everybody for today, and I hope you have loved our Sunday chat. Have a nice day for the rest of the day, and I will be shrink wrapping all of these for my new wholesale client. Oh, you too, Christine. Anyway, see you next time, everyone. Bye.